Vanakkam Dohadeva and everyone. Wonderful to be with you. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Bidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we'll attempt to share the screen. Here we are, July 3rd in Singapore. Oh, we're starting. First topic is a review of last Zoom satsang answer to the question, short review. Explain more about how Simshum BC, the spiritual energy in the spine, relates to the soul. We took a number of approaches. First one we took was to look at Gurudeva's explanation of the spiritual energy in the spine. If you can remain totally centered in awareness of the energy within your spine and the energy within the head, you become aware of the same energy within everybody and everything you see. You are immediately in a sub-superconscious state when this happens. Therefore, the simple goal is stay in this consciousness of energy for the rest of your life. It is just that easy, but it is not quite that simple to accomplish because you have already trained your awareness. You've already trained your awareness to move into other areas of the mind, and it will do that automatically as soon as you cease to be aware of the energy within the spine. Then you forget that you are a superconscious immortal being and begin to think you are only temporal. You may begin to think that there is a past or that there is a future, and begin to feel that the eternal now is an insecure time. So that was our first approach. Very simple terminology. Become aware of the energy within your spine, of course, meaning the spiritual energy. This is not at all physical energy. Not health energy, it's a spiritual energy. Second approach we took was to look at this realm as relating to the sub-superconscious mind, which in Sanskrit is called anukarana chitta. Anukarana chitta, 3 components there. The superconscious mind working through the conscious and subconscious states, which brings forth intuition, clarity, and insight. And my commentary is, in other words, this is the realm of the soul as it relates to the external world. The soul in itself is not concerned about making money for retirement, sending the kids to college. Practical things like that are not the natural concern of the soul. The soul is there in its own world of the deities and gurus and profound samadhis. But that same intuition can be brought through and help us with areas in the conscious and subconscious mind by providing intuition, clarity, and insight. Third approach came from the Shum lexicon, Simbum Kami, 4th dimension, sub-superconscious mind. So this is approaching it through Shum terminology. Awareness cognizing the interrelated forces of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd dimensions. From this detachment, we gain the ability to dissolve confusions, conflicts, and the various and varied entanglements that are encountered daily. It's a good goal, dissolve them all. 4, the realm of artistic creativity. Here is the resting place where we look in and up and out and down. 6. Consciousness should never go lower, but when soaring higher, returns to this resting place, the fourth dimension. That's the goal. Don't go lower. This dimension relates to the kamshumalinga, rehmtyenali. 8. To experience the portraits within this dimension, look at the world from the chest area. We're looking out from here. And the fourth and last approach was to relate this realm to what we experience when we take that first step within, in terms of the concept of 4 steps within. We take the first step within, function in the Untitled Chapter. Gurudeva described it as a realm of artists, inventors, creators of all kinds. It's just a little bit of duplication here. Each time you design or create anything, you are bringing the beauty of the within through your nerve system into manifestation. It is a beautiful place to be, and you can be here all of the time by feeling the power in your spine. The minute you feel that radiant energy, you disconnect from instinctive intellectual consciousness and soar into inner consciousness. Oh, that's the end of our review. 4 different approaches to the same area. So now for the new material. Having begun our day in a consciousness of contentment, creativity, and intuition, we soon encounter the many ways that security can be lost. So we managed to do our morning sadhana period and end up in this area, contentment, creativity, and intuition. And the question for you, which is a very important question: what are some keys to not losing the sublime state we achieve by taking one step within? Maybe you could come up with 2 at least. Keys to not losing the sublime state we achieve by taking one step within. Meaning losing it throughout the subsequent day. The most basic requirement is following the yamas, Hinduism's ethical restraints. Adharmic actions, such as lying and hurting others, disturb the mind and emotions and draw us out into the swirl of external consciousness. Second idea, not letting disagreements turn into arguments is also crucial. Disagreements are natural, but they should be handled in an intelligent and harmonious way. We must always be willing to compromise to keep discussions from turning into conflicts. Domestic arguments are the most destabilizing. A major cause of such strife is the misguided view that the home is a natural place to let off steam, to vent frustrations that will build up through the day at work or school. For the sake of harmony, we must change that approach and instead consider the home a sanctuary for the entire family, never regarding it as a place where we can upset others with our emotions. Gurudeva insisted that the home should have an even higher standard of propriety than the office, the factory, or the corporate workplace. To avoid contention in the home, we can choose other ways to throw off stress. Walk through a park or along a beach, visit a yoga studio or workout facility, or stop to pray at a temple on the way home. In other words, different environments work for different natures and also different degrees of stress. So we want to throw it off. We don't want to bring all the stress from work or school directly home. Third idea, every day we are assaulted by a barrage of advertisements promising greater happiness if we acquire whatever they are promoting. This constant enticement presents a major challenge to sustaining a contented consciousness. Fancy new cars, faster computers, attractive clothes, all promise the ever-elusive state of mind called happiness. That's the job of Madison Avenue, and they do a good job. That's why they get paid. So these are all things that many people want, and without really thinking about it very much, they think having them will make them happier, which it can for a few days. We can rise above this false allure by holding the perspective that we are content with what we currently have. If we acquire something more, it will not be because we think it will make us happier, but because it will benefit our family in a meaningful way. So we should all have a reasonable amount of nice things. Live comfortably on the earth. But the problem comes in when we think having them will make us happy. Gratitude is the next idea, is an important aspect of holding an inner consciousness. A key to nurturing gratitude is giving thanks for all the good things in our life. We are grateful for our family and friends, grateful for our job or school, grateful for the home we live in, grateful for the wisdom and practices of our religion. And another idea, the affirmation, I'm all right right now, a metaphysical tool that Gurudeva gives us emerging with Shiva, is also helpful in sustaining an inner consciousness. It is a way to live in the eternity of the moment where we feel perfect in the now, with no future to worry about and no past to regret. That's a beautiful statement there. That's the goal. We never want to be worried about the future. Worried means we're unreasonably concerned. There's nothing, we're blowing things out of proportion. It's not that we can't worry if a hurricane is going to arrive in 2 hours and you live in Hawaii. That's a reasonable concern. But to worry all hurricane season that a hurricane is going to come, that's unreasonable and puts us too much in the future. Earth is a dangerous place to live, so get on with your spiritual unfoldment. And no past to regret. If we're regretting something we did in the past, we haven't totally resolved it. We all have made mistakes. We all do the wrong things. And we all learn from them. So if we end up looking at it in the right way and we've done the right penance and done the right apologies, there shouldn't be any sense of regret. So we're living in the perfect now. You can perform this excellent practice now and again throughout the day. Practice it by asking yourself, am I not all right now? Right this instant. And answer, I'm all right now. Keep asking and answering until you feel positive, self-assured, and centered in the Anahata chakra. Oh, that's the new material on that subject. Basically, the common ways we lose going one step within, and therefore areas we need to look at. In other words, we're creatures of habit. We tend to do the same things over a weekly cycle. So look for what you're repeating that's externalizing you, causing you to lose the within. Look for a pattern and then figure out another way of handling the situations that end up externalizing you. Another question, interesting question. On the way to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the other lower bodies drop off. Do they drop off into various lokas? Where do the bodies go, in other words? Is it known where exactly they drop off to? Please elaborate on this. Thank you. So it brings up the basic question, what are the bodies? And I'm asking that to you in the form of, how many bodies are there in Hindu metaphysics? How many bodies do we have? 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. So the key here, of course, is body. What the word body means. Okay. Hope you came up with a number. Some definitions. Sharira, body, of which there are 3. Yes, we only have 3 bodies. A word that sometimes gets confused with sharira. Kosha, sheath, of which there are 5. So sometimes individuals will answer the question, there's 5 bodies. No, there's 5 sheaths and there's 3 bodies. So somehow the 3 bodies can be broken down into 5 sheaths. So that is what we'll look at next. I won't ask you to figure that one out. How do they relate? So we have stula sharira, gross body. Stula is gross, is the same as the annamaya kosha, sheath composed of food. So maya, in this sense, doesn't have any long A's. Means composed of, anna, food. The kosha that's composed of food. So stula sharira and annamaya kosha are exactly the same thing. Then we go to the other end. Karana sharira, causal body, is the same as the ananda maya kosha, sheath composed of bliss. So that's the third one. So we skip the second one because it's not exactly the same. That's how 3 becomes 5. Then we have the sukshma sharira, subtle body. It's comprised of the pranamaya kosha, sheath of prana, manomaya kosha, sheath of instinctive intellectual mind, vijnanamaya kosha, sheath of cognition. So in the body system, sharira, there's 1, but in the kosha system, there's 3. So that's how 3 and 5 relate together. The stula sharira, gross body, when life leaves it, as we know, it decays in the bhuloka, physical world. Depends on the environment in which it's put, how fast it will decay. But all by itself, it decays. Why? Because life left it. So what's left has no new life coming into it, and it naturally decays in the physical world because it's a physical body. Sukshma sharira, subtle body, when life leaves it, that means when we reincarnate, it decays in the antarloka, the astral world. So Gurudeva writes about that in a few times in the trilogies. He sees astral bodies that have basically are in the state of decay. They've been abandoned because the person reincarnated. You create a new sukshma sharira, subtle body, when you reincarnate and throw the old one off. So that's decaying in the antarloka. Karana sharira, ananda maya kosha, merges with the primal soul. So it doesn't decay. It merges. It's like the drop of water returning to the ocean. So somehow the two become one. So no decay, it's not left behind. So very interesting, and a little review course there on bodies and sheaths. If you want to get really complicated, you bring in Gurudeva's 7 aspects of man. Well, then you have 3 bodies, 5 sheaths, and 7 aspects of man, and how do they align? That's a very interesting one. We save that for a future one. And by the way, that's the topic we just did is explained in the cosmology chart, which is in the back of the Trilogy books. I'm not sure if it's in all 3 or just in Dancing with Shiva, but cosmology chart is what it's called. It's on the right-hand side, shows how the shariras relate to the koshas, and a lot of other things too. Second topic, flexibility, which is the 23rd character quality from our character building workbook. And we start with the usual question, how would you define flexibility? So this is not physical flexibility, this is mental flexibility. What does it mean to be mentally flexible? The workbook gives this definition. Flexibility means adjusting readily to change. I express flexibility when I respond to new ideas and directions with openness instead of resistance. Opposite is rigidity. So that's a very good summary of the key point there. When new ideas come around, are you open to them, or do you naturally resist them? We have to do it this way. That's the way we've always done it. So that would be inflexible or rigidity. Gurudeva, a couple of interesting quotes. Be like the river water. Water flows freely. Try and say that quickly. I don't know if you can, but I can't do it. The R and the L tangle. Water flows freely. Water flows freely anywhere, easily finding its way around rocks and trees. Be pliable in your life, moving in rhythm with life. Let go of everything that blocks the river of life's energy. Second quote. The seeker on the path has to be soft, pliable, easy to get along with, as well as firm-minded. And one you wouldn't expect. They, candidates for monastic life is what's being referred to, are examined for the qualities of true sannyasa, tested often as to their flexibility, their ability to instantly renounce attachment to position and job security without residual resentments, the fluidness to release awareness and move transparently from one area to the next as needs arise. Comparing the actions of one who is flexible to one who is rigid. First situation, when bad weather is predicted and tomorrow's task must be done today. You, flexibility. Readily adjust, bypassing objections and getting straight to the unexpected tasks. Rigidity. Mumble complaints about how this is going to ruin your plans and try to figure ways around the need. Second situation. For years, the family has gone to one vacation spot, and when they all ask for variety, this year, you, flexibility. Respond in a positive spirit that supports their call for new experiences. Rigidity. Stand firm that what has worked in the past will work again and opt for the tried and true. Third situation. When your Ayurvedic doctor tells you to change your diet, you, flexibility, make the changes immediately in order to achieve better health. Rigidity. Struggle with the power of your eating habits and implement only the easiest of her suggestions. And time for you to reflect. Take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in flexibility. And the assignment during these 2 weeks, when there is a need to rethink how to accomplish a task, be sufficiently detached from the original plan that you not get upset by potential changes. So thank you very much. Stop our sharing. Om. Om. So I'll say one thing first. I imagine our Mauritius members are busy for their Homa, starting up the public Ganesha Homa again today after a couple of years of not having anything and then just having a small group of members, 50 members for a number of months. Now they're back to the public Ganesha Homa on the first Sunday of the month, which is today in Mauritius. Oh, it's a big deal, and they're all working hard to make it go smoothly. So we wish everyone well there in Mauritius in restarting what, of course, was very popular. It gets a few thousand people on a normal day if the weather is decent, and then on Ganesha Chaturthi, from the beginning of the day through the end of the day, it can get up to 10,000 people coming at different times. So it's a very popular place. Have a wonderful week.